Hello everyone, this is RJ567. I know it's been a couple of weeks. Microsoft. He said it like me said download the update, the big one that they've been talking about for a while. And well, it caused the computer to kinda not like it. It didn't install right, so it decided to try to roll back. Did, it blew up the whole computer, and Dell supports it, saying there's no OS on the drive. Microsoft couldn't install, and it would try to reinstall the OS and roll back, and it would just fight. I tried reinstalling the OS myself through recovery partition. Failed. Went to Dell support, they gave me the software to reinstall by USB. Failed. So I had to send this thing in. Not because of me, not because of Dell, but because Microsoft blew up the thing. Got the computer back finally, and had to redo everything. So it took a little while to get back for episode 2, but we're finally back. Last episode we looked at our stuff, all the evidence files and everything. We looked at these documents. We found out what happened, that we're in trouble. We're locked away. Worse than I was in for the last week and a half or two. But we got stuff to do. Starting with this thing.
You have 3 messages.
Mr. Blackwood, this is Mark Johnson from Interactive News Network. I'm just calling to see if you'd like a chance to tell your side of the story. Give me a call at Sector 10, 569-82227, and we'll talk about setting up an exclusive interview. I hope to hear from you soon.
I wonder whatever happened to Megan Love. I thought she'd be the one interviewing us. Maybe we'll see her on TV soon.
Mr. Blackwood, this is Mark.
Nope. No.
You have 3 messages.
There.
Hey Gage, how you doing? Listen, Oh shoot, it's your day off. You're probably in Tahiti, as usual. Well, anyway, I was wondering if I could borrow your environ system. The record button's busted on mine, and I haven't had a chance to get it fixed. And hey, you do me this one favor. I might be willing to forget our bet. Remember? Grab ball last week? Thought you'd get away with it, huh? Not this time, pal. I beat you fair and square. So call me. I'm at home. Thanks. Bye.
I don't have words.
Gage, it's me. Wake up and answer the phone. Hello. I know you're there. Where else could you be? Well, anyway, you owe me, pal. I got your jumpsuit. I just pray they don't realize their key evidence is missing before you figured out what's going on, or we'll both be in neck deep. I mean, it wouldn't take a genius to figure out that I was the only one who could have taken it. But hey, they wouldn't fire me, would they? I'm their chief technician. Who else do they have to get their net games running? I'll send you the suit as soon as I put in an Opmin biochip. If you get a chance, you'll want to modify it to automatically record evidence. And if you need anything else, please hesitate to call me. Oh, and Gage, do me a favor. Erase your messages for a change. Thanks. Good luck, buddy.
Boy, you think the video calling to get something better than that? I mean, that's kinda interesting. And with tab out. So, Agent 3 wanted to play grab ball and kicked our butt again. Not new. Whatever his name. I said Mark Harmon, it's not Harmon. Here we go. Sorry, I just had a little bit of problem moving for a second. But come go to this thing and looking down, the door opens and we can go inside. Yay. Now coming in here, we got some stuff to do. Let's see. Look down here. This orb thing doesn't look like it does much, does it? Right here? We put our hand over it. It's a remote control. This is the remote control for the high-res Environ Omni system. The remote allows access to over 1,000 terrestrial channels and hundreds of symbiotic satellite stations. However, the batteries are dead. Gage. I should say, you can use this navigation down here to move, or you can use the 8, 2, 4, and 6 to look around and 5 to move forward. You can tell I prefer using the number pad. Go down here, let's check this out. Let's check this out first. Or not. You know what, we'll start with the history.
The events surrounding the arrest of Agent 5 bring back, for most, memories of the Elliot Sinclair incident. That historic day 10 years ago could have turned out much differently if it weren't for Agent 5 of the Temporal Protectorate. After building the first ever functional time machine, only to have the government shelve the project because it was considered too dangerous, Sinclair decided to sidestep the politicians and build his own temporal transporter. Years later, when the Sirolans made contact with Earth to offer us a place in the symbiotry of peaceful beings, the xenophobic scientist suddenly found himself with a new purpose. Fearing an alien invasion, he tried to convince the public that the Sirolans were not what they appeared to be. But this endeavor met with little success. Frustrated, exasperated, and on the verge of insanity, Sinclair formulated a plan to make Earth a more difficult target for the Sirolans. On the day of the Sirolan ambassador's arrival, he sent each of his 3 robot minions back in time to change the course of history. The first he sent to create a nuclear scare that would prevent world unification and prolong the Cold War. The second was to destroy the Morimoto Mars colony and make it look like the work of an alien race. And the third Sinclair sent to kill Dr. Enrique Castillo, the individual who was most influential in convincing humanity of the benefits of joining the symbiotry. His backup plan, should his robots have failed, was to assassinate the Sirolan delegate. It was our good fortune that Agent 5 was on duty at the Temporal Security Annex that day. He detected the temporal distortions, stopped each of the androids, and then apprehended Sinclair himself. That fateful morning made a hero of Agent 5 and spawned the blockbuster holoflick, The Journeyman Project. Elliot Sinclair was put on trial and found guilty of all charges. He was sentenced to life imprisonment on Vega Thalon and hasn't been heard from since.
Thank you for that. And notice how the green screen works for this game. Actors have not changed between games, by the way, same actor. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to go through. This is gonna take about an hour and a half. Not fun.
INN will return after word from our sponsor.
And there's this.
The soon-to-be-released Geno, A Fond Remembrance, is Volume 4 of G-Tech's Rock Through the Ages collection. Never before has there been a video collection that captures the many moods of Gino Andrews. You'll hear the melancholy Gino.
So many songs about the rain.
The rebellious Gino.
Selling yourself, sell the price to pay when you're selling yourself.
Yes, the carefree Gino.
It's been my dream to be a traveler of sorts, to visit all kinds.
And of course, the lovesick Gino.
A song for her is all she wants from me.
All of his chart-topping videos are here, brought back from the archives of the past and completely remastered in stunning 4D sound. In fact, Gino A Fond Remembrance is the most complete collection of Gino's hits ever compiled on one EC. Call our toll-free ShopNet line now and receive a free sample from the upcoming EC that's bound to be an instant classic. Gino, A Fond Remembrance.
So remember to write down that number if you really want to. No, you don't have to. Remember if you don't want to. This one's not important, but I will show you what it is when we get there. Gino Andrews, by the way, is actually a real person. He is actually the composer and sound and visual artist for the Journeyman Project. So yeah. He's the actual person that worked on the game. A little bit He's also done a few other things, but for the sake of keeping it easy.
The ongoing saga of Gage Blackwood took a frightening twist this morning when the agent of the Deep Time Unit broke house arrest to jump 9 years back in time. Fortunately, the illicit time jump was detected and he was immediately apprehended by Agent 8 of the Temporal Protectorate. Although it's still not clear how and why Blackwood obtained the TSA jumpsuit, Temporal Security Agency officials did say that no distortion ripples have yet been detected, and that there is no reason whatsoever to believe that Blackwood has altered history in any way. Our Lisa Long has a report from TSA Administrative Headquarters.
We'll go to the next page.
In a strange turn of events that can only be described as unimaginable, the highly decorated Gage Blackwood, better known as Agent 5 of the Deep Time Unit, has been arrested and put on trial for the crime of historical sabotage. We apologize for the lack of trial footage, but because of the sensitive nature of the material being presented, no recording equipment has been allowed into the tribunal wing of the United Ministry Complex where the trial is being held. The drama unfolded 3 weeks ago when Agent 2 of the Temporal Protectorate discovered 4 distortion ripples while conducting an unscheduled historical scan. As it turned out, the dates of the ripples exactly coincided with times to which Agent 5 had been sent for research purposes. The agent immediately contacted his supervisors, and on their orders, 3 agents were sent to apprehend Agent 5, who offered no resistance. Later that day, more evidence was found in Blackwood's locker, suggesting that he had disobeyed Temporal Security Agency directives for personal gain. Unless deemed absolutely necessary, the TSA will not send agents to investigate or restore the distortions, as any further tampering with history may cause adverse effects, possibly even turning the ripples into full reality distortion waves.
Very interesting. Let's go on. We'll start the prosecution.
Prosecuting attorney Phil Stevens alleges that Agent 5 intentionally altered the past in 4 of the 10 time zones to which he had been sent for research purposes, his only apparent motive being personal gain. In so doing, Agent 5 would have knowingly violated Temporal Security Agency ethics, as well as the law. As temporal sabotage in any form is considered the worst possible crime against humanity, Stevens is aiming for the maximum allowable sentence.
Alright. You'll see why this is gonna get bad real soon. Yeah, notice I just clicked something and it popped up the Temporal Security Agency. Temporal Security Annex of the Crime Intervention Commission, also known as the Temporal Security Agency, is the government headquarters for time travel activity. In this top secret compound, elite agents safeguard history from illicit time travelers and embark on historical research missions. Which goes to this, the Crime Intervention Commission. As crime began to decline after world unification, a number of policing agencies also began to decrease in number. With the advent of the transporter, the need for such agencies decreased even more in both number and kind. In 2237, the Crime Intervention Commission was formed as a single agency responsible for controlling crime worldwide. The CIC has several branches, including the Temporal Security Annex. If you click on it, it goes right back to agency. If you hit return, we gotta follow the link all the way back. This thing's its own wiki walk if you want to take one. This is why the episodes are going to be very sporadic and took me 2 hours to record the first time. Yay!
Prosecuting attorney feels the burden of proof lies on the prosecution. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Gage Blackwood was responsible for the distortion ripples. There is strong evidence working against Blackwood, including both computer records that place him at the altered historical locations and contraband that was discovered in his locker. But the evidence alone is not enough to ensure a conviction. With this in mind, prosecuting attorney Stevens has directed his questioning toward eliminating other possible explanations for the ripples.
Distortion ripples. Temporal distortions are the result of anachronisms or temporally inappropriate items left in the past. There are two basic types of anachronisms that can cause temporal distortions: simple and effective. A simple anachronism is a very minor alteration to the past which has no noticeable effect on history. For example, spilling water would be a simple anachronism, as it would likely evaporate before anyone were to take notice of it. Such minor distortions do not represent a threat and are caused by even the most careful of agents from time to time. Of far greater concern are the effective anachronisms, of which there are two kinds. So there's 3 anachronisms, not 2. I'm going to just say... never mind. Limited and expansive. While their effects to history are not great, limited effective anachronisms are the result of more significant changes to the past. These changes are usually more enduring than simple anachronisms, but the repercussions known as temporal distortion ripples fade with time, as they do not affect anyone greatly enough to alter the course of history. Expansive effective anachronisms, on the other hand, are changes to historically significant items or events that have major repercussions. These anachronisms cause reality distortion waves or chain reactions that grow with time, making sweeping changes to history as they do so. If a reality distortion wave should ever reach the present, those who aren't uncreated in its wake will suddenly find themselves with new lives, completely unaware that anything had ever been different. Both types of effective anachronisms are to be taken very seriously, as the most likely cause of such disturbances is deliberate historical sabotage. Not good. Luckily no wiki walks here, so we can go right on to the next thing.
The burden of proof
Is that it?
Prosecuting
1, 2.
Witnesses for the prosecution have included Agent 2 of the Temporal Protectorate, the TSA's chief technician, and the designer of the circuitry for the jumpsuit.
Sorry about that, my mouse is beginning a little silly. Temporal Protectorate goes to the Time Unit. Along with the development of the Time Displacement Unit came a rethinking and restructuring of the Temporal Security Agency. Gone were the days of historical security relying entirely on one agent, using one machine. Now multiple agents had the freedom to move throughout time at will, and several years had gone by without incident. Changing the prevailing opinion on the security of time travel, in 2326 the decision was made to expand the Temporal Security Agency, which you've already read, to include a historical research team. This team, self-dubbed the Deep Time Unit, is comprised of 4 individuals who are each responsible for researching and recording various periods of history. The 3 other restructured units of the TSA include the Temporal Protectorate, the Maintenance Team, and Management. The Temporal Protectorate, as before, is responsible for safeguarding history from sabotage. The upkeep of files and equipment is the responsibility of the Maintenance Team, and Management oversees all TSA operations. Fun. And like I said, that was the only one. We got the time displacement unit. It was a jumpsuit. As has been expected, Earth's incorporation into the symbiometry of peaceful beings brought with it astounding advances in technology. These advances aid the TSA in developing the next generation of time machines. The time displacement unit, or jumpsuit, incorporates an entire time machine into a mobile self-contained suit. The greatest advantage of the jumpsuit is that it can forge its own null time tunnel from one location to another, eliminating the need to return to the present between jumps. This new technology rendered Pegasus obsolete, and in August 2325, the time machine was dismantled. The 2 generator was destroyed, and the smaller core elements put into storage in a known location, known only to the agents of the Temporal Security Agency. Aww. Sad, but, well, you know, had to happen. No time tunnel. The process of time travel includes creating a breach in the space-time continuum through which the traveler can cross. Within this void, which is called a null time tunnel, the laws of space and time do not apply. Entering or exiting a null time tunnel causes a sudden change in the amount of matter present in the universe at that moment. The result of this change is a startling display of arcing energy known as the displacement effect. Pegasus, the world's first time machine, known as the Pegasus, was the brainchild of part-time historian and full-time physicist Elliot Sinclair. In 2311, after seeing Sinclair's time-bending experiments, the government contracted him to build a full-scale operational time machine. The purpose of this device was to explore our past, as well as to discover the truth behind many disputed historical events. Pegasus was dismantled in 2325 after the introduction of the time displacement unit, which integrated a fully functional time machine into a mobile suit. And that should be all for this read.
Witnesses for the prosecution.
Oh boy. Now you know why we don't like this. Agent 2. The investigation began when Agent 2 of the Temporal Protectorate, which we've already read, ran an unscheduled manual historical scan, a procedure normally performed twice a year to reveal any abnormalities missed by the scanner's faster, but less sensitive automatic scan mode. Agent 2 discovered a temporal ripple that originated in the year 1050 AD, indicating that someone had gone back to that time and affected a historically important object or event. He soon found 3 more ripples in the years 1204 AD, 2247 AD, and 1488 AD. Fortunately, none of the changes were serious enough to cause a full reality distortion wave, which we'll just take a quick peek at. I think we've already done that. Yep. I just want to check one other thing before we go on. Yep. The agent then realized that the ripples exactly coincided with several of Agent 5's research mission dates. Agent 2 reported what he had found and was subsequently sent after Blackwood, along with Agents 3 and 7. They located the suspect in Tahiti, where he was spending his day off, and apprehended him without incident. Following TSA protocol, they then brought Agent 5 to the United Ministry complex, where he was arraigned and later released to house arrest. The United Ministry complex was built in 2322 to fulfill the need for a single location for all major judicial, political, and symbiometry affairs. In addition to the courthouses and government offices, the complex also houses the symbiometry embassies and an assembly hall designed to accommodate all the member races. Don't need to know much about that, but it's good to know. There is a lot of stuff to read, by the way. Let me just take a drink real quick and breathe for a sec. I'm trying to do this when it's not too hot. That's why I also wait a little bit, because it's a little bit cooler right now rather than when I started. To have an opening. So think of it as a delay so I didn't die. Prosecuting Attorney Stevens called the TSA Chief Computer Technician to testify based on his knowledge of the chronolog scanner array. Okay, so we get to do. Located within the Temporal Security Annex, the chronolog scanner array monitors the history for illicit time jumps and temporal distortions. However, as history is so vast, the scanner sensitivity has been reduced to give them the speed necessary to continually monitor the entire past for distortions. As a result, the sensors are not able to detect minor distortions in the Amrex scan mode. And through manual scans must be performed twice a year. Well, thorough manual scans. The technician testified that the chronolog scanners are designed to detect any illicit time jumps and are monitored at all times by a member of the Temporal Protectorate. Chronolog scanners is the same thing, so don't have to worry about that. Temporal Protectorate, time unit, we have already read that. Yet, to his knowledge, at no point during the period in question were the scanners ever offline or performing improperly. And at no point was an unsanctioned time jump detected. In fact, corroborated by the security log. By the way, reading these files are giving us points for something I'll show you later on. So do read them if you're going for a perfect run. If you're just going just to see the story and then play the game just to beat the game, you can probably skip most of this, but you do need a couple things from here. Excuse me. Circuitry designer, Miss Margarine Cho, was called to testify based upon her knowledge of the time displacement unit, or jumpsuit, which she designed the circuitry. When asked whether it was possible for someone else to have used Agent 5's jumpsuit, which, if you remember, we've already read, Ms. Cho said that security precautions mandated that only one person be able to use each suit. She went on to explain that each jumpsuit is coded specifically to the DNA of the agent who uses it and will automatically self-destruct if it's tampered with. Yay. Computer records. In addition to the computer records which document Agent 5's research activity, the video log reports made by him during his research mission jumps definitely place him at each of the altered historical locations. Files were not made available to the press. Physical evidence. An inspection of Agent 5's locker revealed one valuable but not historically significant object from each of the 4 altered time zones that he was sent to. The 4 items include a gold ornament from Chichen Itza, a jeweled ore from Chateo Galar, a sketch from Leonardo da Vinci Studio, a signed document from Kenneth Feinstein's lab. Welcome to hell. I really don't want to do this yet, but welcome to hell. The ancient monastery of Chichen Itza was founded in the year 514 AD. It is located in central Yucatan, about 60 miles inland from the coastal resort community of Cancun. If I'm reading this too fast for you, please feel free to pause the video and read it yourself. Throughout its first 5 centuries, the city underwent several periods of decreased activity and refounding before finally being founded for the last time by the Toltec Maya sometime around the year 1000 AD. After several decades of being the capital city of Cancun, it was abandoned in the year 1194 for unknown reasons. Toltec Indian civilization ruled the Central American highlands through the 10th to 12th centuries AD, when they were invaded by neighboring Indian tribes. The Toltecs were excellent craftsmen and sophisticated builders, and their influence can be seen in Chichen Itza and other post-classic Mayan centers. Maya, the Maya race of Indians who inhabited the Yucatan Peninsula of South America until approximately 1500 AD. Yes, we're going on and on and on and on with these wiki walks. Let's keep going. I'm okay. They had organized social centers, a very advanced knowledge of mathematics and astronomy, and a computer hieroglyphic writing system. But like their Aztec neighbors, the Maya are best known for their violent, polytheistic religion, the chief deity of which was the creator god Itzanama. Mayan culture reached its peak between 300 and 900 AD, at which point their major cities began to decline from a combination of natural disasters and inadequate agricultural planning, new Maya centers of heavy Toltec influence then began to come to power, most notably Chichen Itza, but these centers were also later abandoned when the region came under Spanish rule in the early 16th century. Interesting background, by the way. But did you notice there's another thing? Izatama, the mind god of Izanama, or however you say it. I can't say it. If I'm saying it wrong, I am completely sorry. I'm not good at reading these like that. Had many personas. He was the god of the sky, the inventor of writing and books, and the patron of science and learning. But most importantly, the Maya saw him as the creator of human life. And this is only the first of 4 to read. Chateo Gallard, number 2. Located on a ridge of the Les Andes Mountains in Europe, Sector 44, Chateo Gallard was built as a defensive outpost by Richard the Lionheart to protect territories he had taken in Normandy. I really wish there was a voice to read this for us, like the main articles. I am honest, guys. This is a lot. Richard's rivalry with Philip Augustus of France went on for several years, but Richard's saucy castle remained untouched. Saucy Castle! Hope you got fries. But yeah, I am reading this because we do need it for points. You might not know the history if you're a younger viewer. Hey, anyone can watch these videos. I just put them not for kids because they're not for kids, they're for everyone. In 1204, 5 years after Richard's death, Philip's armies laid siege at Chateo Gallard, and the castle that was once thought impregnable fell just at the 6 months today. Very little remains at Chateo Gallard. As little of my sanity after reading all these, because we're going to read a lot. Richard Leonhardt was first born AD 1157, the third son of Henry II and Eleanor of Aquitaine. He assumed the throne in 1189 and ruled England for 10 years. During his reign, Richard participated in the Third Crusade and battled with Philip Augustus for control of several French territories. In order of his courage and achievements as a... I'll give you a chance to pause. Sorry about having the mouse in the way. Military leader. Richard was dubbed Coeur de Lion or Leonhardt. In order to finance his war efforts, he imposed heavy taxation, eventually bleeding England dry. In March of the year 1199, Richard was shot in the shoulder with a crossbow bolt while reconnoitering the castle of a lord who he felt was holding out on him. The wound became severely infected and he died just 2 weeks later. And that's why this isn't for kids, because you won't be able to read those big words like that. Hell, even I can't read half these long ass words at times. Henry II. The second of England reigned from 1154 to 1189 by marrying Eleanor of Aquitaine. He gained many territories in France. Henry II was the father of both King Richard I and King John of England. Eleanor of Aquitaine. Duchess Eleanor of Aquitaine was born in 1122, the daughter and heiress of William, Duke of Aquitaine. Her first marriage to Louis VII of France was annulled in 1152. She was later married to Henry II of England, with whom she bore 5 children, including both King Richard I and King John of England. When her sons rebelled against their father, she supported them, for which she was imprisoned by Henry until his death in 1185. After years of being involved in the political affairs of her sons, Eleanor of Aquitaine died in 1204. Henry II, we already know. Richard I, we already know. King John of England reigned from 1199 until his death in 1216. He was the son of Eleanor of Aquitaine and Henry II, and the brother of Richard I. His concessions to Philip Augustus of France earned him the nickname John Lackland. Philip Augustus, I forget if we read it because this is how bad it gets. Born in the year 1165, Philip Augustus ruled France from 1108 until 1223. Philip II was a naval leader who participated in the Crusades and established France as a European power. After years of quarreling with King Richard I, he eventually recovered all his French territories held by England. And the Crusades were a series of military expeditions led by European Christian powers in the 11th, 12th, 13th centuries. The goal of these religious conquests was to recover Christian holy lands in Palestine from the Muslims. And that is number 2, I think. Excuse me. Yeah, that was a long one. Da Vinci. A masterful artist, inventor, and architect, Leonardo da Vinci was one of the most influential people to have ever lived. Leonardo was born on April 15, 1452 in a small town of Vinci, Italy. At the age of 17, he began an apprenticeship in the studio of the noted artist Verrocchio. His talents soon became apparent, and by the age of 25, he was creating his own masterpieces of art. Masterpieces. I could have said it. I could have gone with it. It was fine. Same thing, isn't it? Works of art, masterpieces. Leonardo later took up many other interests, including sculpture, anatomy, invention, architecture, music, astronomy, writing, and philosophy, all of which he was accomplished in all. His most famous works include the Mona Lisa, The Last Supper, and Virgin and Child with St. Anne. He can also be credited with dozens of inventions in the areas of weaponry, textile development, transportation, lifting, automation, and flight. Leonardo da Vinci died on May 2nd, 1519 at the age of 67. Verrocchio Andrea del. Best known for having been a tutor of Leonardo da Vinci, Andrea del Verrocchio was an extremely gifted painter and sculptor of the Italian Renaissance in his own right. His most famous work is an equestrian monument which shows masterful technique and composition. That wasn't too bad. Now, are you ready for the fun one? Dr. Kenneth Farsight was the probable creator of the Self-Here Life series of sculptures. Born on July 7, 2179, Farsight was an exceptionally gifted only child. He was sent to the best schools and ultimately earned PhDs in cognitive science and artificial intelligence. His thesis, an introspective examination of the foundations of sentience, is a remarkable text that is, to this day, required reading for the most students of cognitive science. Soon after graduation in 2206, Dr. Farsight started the hugely successful biotechnology company Gentech, of which he was the president and CEO for several years. During his time at Gentech, he grew very wealthy. He eventually became bored with his supervisory role and had longed to return to where the real discoveries were being made. The past time, Farsight retreated into the arms of his second love, art. Through his involvement and support of the artistic community, he has earned a reputation as a passionate patron of the arts. 12 years after starting Gentech, without warning or explanation, Dr. Farsight sold off his stock and purchased the 50-year-old decommissioned research station, Amrex. He refers to the station, making it entirely self-sufficient and adding several modules made from hollowed-out asteroids. The station was moved from deep solar orbit under veils of secrecy, and Farsight disappeared into the shadows of space. 2 decades later, the reclusive genius reappeared briefly on Earth and began selling paintings. He was reputed to have told buyers that the works of art were made by an artificial sentience which he had created, and he was reluctantly selling them to further finance his research. His paintings were admired for their powerful raw energy, but did not receive great critical acclaim, as they were considered to lack a maturity of style. However, they did enjoy a brief flash popularity in the art scene, mostly generated by the controversy generated by the famous scientist's intriguing claim. Interest quickly died down. And this is a long read, because like I said, this is all the stuff that's future, so there's going to be a lot. Stop it! As far as I consistently evaded requests to present his artists with assertions that outside contact would taint the experiment. Sorry if I snap, I'm just cleaning out my mess a little bit. See if that fixed it. For a few more years, Dr. Farsight endured the skepticism of the art community and the patronizing of his colleagues, while sadly believed that he was a senile has-been. Eventually, his paintings stopped appearing on the market and the world gradually forgot about Kenneth Farsight and his dubious creation. February of 2282. Getting all sweaty now from this. Space Rooper made a startling discovery while trolling low Saturn orbit. The salvage vessel scanners detect the derelict space station, which had been almost entirely destroyed by a shower of comet fragments. The station's beacon identified it as the Magellan Corporation's deep space research platform, Amrex. Inside, the crew discovered the long-dead remains of an advanced computer, the core of which they brought back to Earth for study. The computer was based on a radical new form of biotechnology which took the world's foremost technologies years to understand. The complicated computer's resident software had long since dissolved the drain of the station's capacitance array, but its advanced architecture led to the development of today's ubiquitous biochip technology. Another, in some ways more intriguing discovery was several astounding glows of a similar biomass which, when interacted with, blossomed into multi-dimensional art pieces which subsequently through the art world on its collective ear. So new and startling were the sculptures that, in conjunction with the discovery of the computer core, many in the scientific community were led to the speculation that perhaps Dr. Farsight had in fact created an artificial creative personality, as he had claimed. With the computer dead, any notes or research destroyed with the laboratory module, most people attributed the pieces to Farsight himself. The remains of Dr. Farsight were never found. Several modules, including the research lab and much of the habitat wing, were sheared from the station's frame by the violent impact of the space debris. It is presumed that Farsight was aboard one of these and perished in the accident. Now we get to read all this again and look for the red links. Yay! Told you that there was a lot of stuff to read. Amrex. The Deep Space Research Station Amrex was originally commissioned in 2173 by the Magellan Corporation as a long-range parallax array platform. From its deep solar orbit outside the apogee of Pluto, it was positioned to scan deep space for singularities for possible commercial use. The Amrex is better known, however, as one of the more famous Flying Dutchmen in astronautical history. Purchased and refurbished by Dr. Kenneth Farsight in 2221. The Amrex was discovered in the year 2282 by a salvage vessel scanning low Saturn orbit for ice mining rigs. It had been severely damaged by an asteroid shower and was a floating derelict. Inside the crew of the salvage vessels found an advanced biocomputer and 4 remarkable interactive sculptures that were later created by Dr. Farsight. Yep. It's all back, so if I hit return, it's going to bring me back to Amrex. It's going to also go to Farsight. Though the works have since been recognized as masterpieces for the superstitious crew of the space sweeper Lazy Jane, they are the memories and ghosts of a long-dead crew. And the eerie story of the Amrex is still told among spacers in the cold, dark stretches between the stars. There's nothing here. Amrex we looked at. Looks like there's no red there. Whew. So much red. So much link. There's still more. Biotechnology. The word biotechnology refers to the use of biological organisms in industrial or informational processes. The foundation of modern biotechnology is the neurosynaptic polymer gel, a viscous liquid supporting a synthetic structure of neurons whose complex interaction creates pseudo-synaptic pathways. The revolutionary nature of this technology comes from the remarkable way in which the relationship between the numerous flexes in response to the evolution of its software or behavior pattern. We'll look at software after this. The effect of allowing the software to continuously refine the configuration of the hardware for maximum efficiency. This phenomenon has opened the doors to a new generation of intelligent, lateral thinking computers and also manifests itself in the application of neuromass central polymorphing as first demonstrated by Dr. Kenneth Farsight's brilliant Self-Here-Life series of interactive sculptures. Many, in fact, consider Dr. Farsight to be the father of modern biotechnology, as today's neurocomputers are directly derived from a revolutionary prototype discovered aboard his derelict space station in the year 2282. Almost done, we just got software to go through for this area. Ugh. Neurocomputer's functions are determined by the software that resides within it. The software controls the computer's learning and overall functioning by altering connections between the neurons or engrams, according to an evolving behavior pattern. This behavior pattern begins as an instruction code or key, much like the DNA pattern of an organic life, and becomes more complex as the program experiences and learns. Although lateral intelligence routines have become very sophisticated, sorry about leaving the mouse in the way if you were pausing to read it, but you can now read it possibly. Technologists are still searching for a key that will allow the true spontaneous creativity and awareness, the so-called spark of life. And I think we're almost done. We already done Amrex. We got nothing new. Nope. Nope. Blech. I hope you're looking at the pictures. But yeah, that's the end of the prosecution. Defense.
In the absence of an alibi or any evidence proving Agent 5's innocence, defense attorney Sandra Gallagher will be setting out to show, through the testimony of character witnesses, that it is not likely Mr. Blackwood committed the crime. If the defense can elicit some doubt of Blackwood's guilt, he will go free. Witnesses for the defense will include Agent 3 of the Deep Time Unit, Agent 8 of the Temporal Protectorate, the Commissioner of the Temporal Security Agency, and Agent 5 himself. The defense has not yet had the opportunity to present its case. However, we have contacted both the Chief Technician and Commissioner of the TSA to ask them their feelings on the arrest of Gage Blackwood. Neither Agent 3 of the Temporal Security Agency nor Mr. Blackwood could be reached for comment.
And let's go to the interviews. I believe these are video. I hope they are, because I'm getting tired of reading for this episode.
With us now is William Daughton, the TSA Chief Technician. He joins us live from the Temporal Security Agency Administrative Headquarters. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Daughton.
Thank you, Mark.
You've known Gage Blackwood for many years, and I understand that the two of you are good friends. Do you think he's guilty?
Absolutely not. The thought that he could be guilty never even crossed my mind. I mean, friend or no, here you've got someone who's dedicated his whole life to protecting history and now stands accused of violating it. That's ridiculous. And if you don't believe me, look at his record. The man's a decorated hero. You can't overlook that fact just because it doesn't fit neatly into the story the prosecution's trying to sell.
Isn't it true you testified that no one else made a time jump to any of the altered historical locations?
No, actually I testified the scanners didn't register anyone making a time jump to those locations. But computers are only as intelligent as their human programmers. Now, I believe it's possible that someone could have shadowed Agent 5's jumps. If a second time traveler were to make a jump within a few seconds of the first into the same location, the chronolog scanners probably wouldn't recognize it as a second jump.
Have you been able to test this theory?
No, not yet. It's too dangerous. If two people were to travel through the same null time tunnel and land in the exact same place, well, their matter would mix and that would kill them.
And you believe that someone found a way around this?
It's possible, yes.
Okay, well, thank you for your insights, Mr. Daughton.
Look at his ear. Little cut off. Now you can see with some of these videos, you will see Mark's hair do weird things. But yeah, William Daughton. Gee, we got a call from him, didn't we? So let's see what the commissioner has to say. Mr. Jack Baldwin, who really hated us last game.
I have with me now Commissioner Jack Baldwin of the Temporal Security Agency, who's coming to us live from TSA Administrative Headquarters. Commissioner, thank you for joining us. Now, the first and most obvious question is, are you confident in your arrest of Gage Blackwood as the perpetrator of this crime?
We had to arrest Agent 5 because of the evidence, not because we think he did it. There was an obvious transgression. Someone was responsible for it, so we arrested the person to whom the evidence pointed. Now it's up to the courts to determine whether or not he's guilty.
So you believe he's innocent?
Absolutely. I've known Gage ever since he joined at the TSA. In fact, I'm the one who recruited him. Gage Blackwood is a member of an endangered species. Gage Blackwood is a hero. He has put his life on the line many times to prevent this exact thing from happening. There's absolutely no way he would have abused his position at the risk of a single life, let alone history as we know it. No, it just doesn't make sense.
Mr. Blackwood has been an agent for quite a while now, 13 years, I believe. Is it possible that the temptation just became too great for him to bear?
No. Gage is as committed to his duty now as he was back when he apprehended Elliot Sinclair. He was, and he is, our finest agent.
Okay, let's assume for a minute that he did do it. Knowing that he would be facing life imprisonment on Vega Thalon, Do you feel that he would plead guilty?
First of all, it's a moot point because he didn't do it. But, presuming he did, knowing Gage, I'd say he had a damn good reason. And he would have confessed immediately. He wouldn't have pretended innocence, not for 1 minute. Bottom line, Gage Blackwood is no criminal. Gage Blackwood is a hero.
Okay, Commissioner, it looks like we're out of time. Thank you.
Damn. When he really goes for, you know. I'm scared to look at Editorial, but we have to.
If Blackwood is indeed guilty, he has altered more than just the past. The future, too, will likely feel the results of his actions. The Deep Time Unit will probably be discontinued before ever realizing its full potential. But there is an even greater issue at stake. That is whether the Temporal Security Agency itself is more of a risk than a safety measure. Many feel that it should be shut down and everything related to time travel destroyed. Others argue that the technology has already been invented, so there's nothing stopping it from being reinvented for the wrong reasons. So in their opinion, the Temporal Security Agency must remain operational to safeguard against future acts of historical sabotage.
I'm just pointing. Yeah. I'm gonna end the episode here because this is a huge read. This one right here is every single race in the Symbiotry basically appearing in this one, and they're pages long. This one has more story that we're gonna go into also next episode. Now, we've already read these two, so I'm gonna end the episode here, but before I go, let's hear some music. Or not. Oh, this middle thing. Nothing. Alright. I'll show you what it does later then. I gotta take a break. I hope you guys have fun, and I'll see you on the next one. See you then. Great to be back.